Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. We are on to the penultimate episode of Season 5, Episode 19, Folie, Deux. Brian, let's get into this shared madness that it is. We're going to do our guessing game.
Yeah. 217 episodes. Where do you think this sits?
43.
X-Files fans on it. Oh, 43, eh? 43. Oh, so it's not too far off. 36. 36, yeah. So it's in the upper echelons of X-Files.
Oh, yeah.
So the upper quarter. So, yeah. Whether we agree with that, it remains to be seen. I'm always curious where you're going to land. Keep waiting for that next irresistible. So this one's written by Vince Gilligan. It's also got Tim Minear and Chris Garter, but I believe Vince Gilligan had quite a hand in this. I think you can spot that if you look at a lot of the writing style. But we open up on a call center. For anyone who's ever worked in a call center, I'm sure it instantly sends shivers down your spine.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Luckily enough, I've never worked in one, but it looks horrific. It does look.
Oh man, you always get that. You always get the guy over the shoulder, making sure you're still smiling. Dial and smile. Yeah. So
they can hear when you're not smiling.
So a guy working in this call center, and he's dealing with a bit of a pissy customer, but who cares, right? Just keep going, pal. Dial and smile. And then all of a sudden, as this guy is talking to this woman called Mrs. Loach, we see what looks like a huge roach. Can't help but that name was very purposeful. So So I said to you at the end of last week that there's some special effects in this that are a bit like I can't tell if I like them or I don't. And it's like, so we see this.
I think the problem is giant cockroaches are just going to look weird anyway. I think they're taking a little bit of an idea from Mimic as well with the look of it. And then I think they're also trying to make that uncanny valley of, is it real? Is it not? Does it look like something that could be a figment of a hallucination or something? So I think they're trying all different kinds of things.
Yeah,
I like it.
I think I do like it. There's scenes in it where I genuinely find it creepy. Like there's moments where I'm like, actually, that is somewhat unnerving. And then there's other moments like this where you see it just kind of trotting around the office. No one else can see it but this guy, and it's kind of this like weird blur effect where 1 minute it's there and the next minute it's there, and it kind of looks like he's just speeding around, patting people on shoulders and going, "Ooh, cooey!" I was like, what's going on here? Like, but so it just ends basically with him kind of saying over the line to Mrs. Loach, "It's here, it's here," and it's like, and then we go to opening credits. But
I think it's a really good opening. I'm kind of interested to see where it's going. I think because of obviously the title, it kind of leads into the fact that you're thinking it's madness. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it takes a bit of a time to get there. But I think that kind of title kind of robs the episode a little bit, I suppose.
Well, it does if you know French and you know what it means. But like at the time when I first watched this, I didn't have a clue what Folie Deux meant until they explained it in the episode. So we go to Skinner's office, and there is a threat assessment of this company, basically the one we saw at the beginning. Basically, a phone call has been made to the higher ups of this company, saying that there is a monster walking among them, and they're a bit rattled because there's been something similar that's happened in the past, and it ended in like ended in like a mass shooting and that. So now they're taking this phone call quite seriously, given what's happened in the past. So Mulder kind of takes the tape kind of thing and then walks out of the office, and he runs into Scully.
He does say that thing in the office, "Monsters, I'm your boy," which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah. But then he goes out and he meets Scully, and he literally calls it a jerk-off assignment. Like he's just not interested. Like the Mulder of old.
Oh, Scully was in the meeting as well.
No, she wasn't, because he meets her in the office. He meets her just outside the office.
I thought the two of them walk out the office, because she's like, I was there as well. Like, it's not just you.
Oh yes, she was. See, that's how much of an impact she made in that scene. Because it did feel like they were talking to Mulder. This is a case that Mulder would normally gravitate towards, and one that Scully would normally roll her eyes at. But for whatever reason, Mulder is calling it a jerk-off assignment and rolling his eyes. And it's just like any other season, he'd have heard the word monster and his ears would have pricked up, and he's like, I'm on it.
But it's good because it kind of shows the fact that he is a little bit jaded and he's changed, evolving. That almost, I don't want to be known as the monster guy like that. Whereas that's all he has been known throughout everything so far.
Yeah.
Spooky Mulder, which I
think as well.
Like that.
Yeah, and I think that plays well because we've come off the back of the Pine Bluff variant, where they were doing essentially a real case, a normal case. Like there wasn't really anything X-Filesy about Pine Bluff variant other than the government conspiracy. But normally when we get a government conspiracy, it's related to aliens and things like that. So so coming off the back of that, where it seems like he's working like a real FBI case, it feels like, maybe he wants to stay there. Maybe he's moving away from the more surreal stuff. But so it's in the corridor where Scully kind of says, "I" or "we." She's like, she points out, like, it's not just you, Mulder. I am part of this as well. And you do get that sense sometimes that Mulder is like, he looks at Scully as the second in command rather than joint kind of.
Yeah, but it also feels as if Scully's been a little bit marginalised in the past this season. She's kind of like he's almost pushing her away a little bit. It doesn't feel as if their bond is as strong as it once was.
Yeah, could put that down to the fact that maybe because he was going to lose her at the start of the season, and maybe he's pushed away. I don't know, but I'm probably reading way too much into that. So Mulder listens to the tape, and there's a phrase on there that says, "It hides in the light." And the previous incident, it talks about the previous incident at the other office. So he rings Scully, and he basically just gets her to do some more
secretarial work.
He rings his secretary Scully and says, "Look, I can't be looking through old X-Files. You do it. Look for a phrase, hiding in the light. You can find any variations on it."
Yeah, and I'm thinking, how do you even go about that? Do you have to look through every single X-Files case, like just looking for that phrase?
Yeah.
Wow.
Gotta be on it. Scully's got to be a speed reader. She's like just there going, no.
Yeah, and I don't think she really bothers. But then there's a bit later on where Mulder's like, I found it 5 times in various cases.
So, so she goes off looking for a needle in a haystack, while Gary, who is the guy at the beginning of the episode in the office space, tries to convince Nancy not to go into the boss's office, because the boss is kind of like calling different employees in one at a time, and he's like, no, don't do it, and she's like, "You're so funny, Gary. I love you, but you're a bit weird." And that's when we get
She's
that.
She's too happy for this workplace.
Big time. She really takes the whole dial and smile quite seriously.
Yes.
Which is when the douchebag says it to Gary. So Mulder examines the tape some more while Gary gets a weapon. So we're kind of juxtaposing the two of them, like doing their business. Scully hides in the light or variations on it in various files, but particularly Gerald Resnick, who was a church deacon. He said that there was an evil presence in his parish, and it led to a mass shooting. Which Mulder's like, I told you so. But yeah, I find it quite funny though that it's a church kind of preacher pastor guy. It's quite amusing. Okay,
that's Jesus's call center, isn't it?
So Mulder goes to the office where Gary pulls a gun on him. So he gets to the office. It's totally quiet. You got Nancy kind of hiding under a desk going, get down. Mulder's like, huh? Given the case that Mulder's working on, you'd think it'd be a bit quicker to the mark. But yeah,
what I love about this sequence is Mulder, who we've known as one of the best profilers in the FBI business, walks into this busy call center and there's not a single person around, and he's just kind of like walking down, just like, what's going on? All right, why are you on the ground saying get down? Like, he just doesn't seem to be aware of the situation.
He's so not asked about this case. He's just like,
exactly,
daydreaming. So yeah, he ends up with Gary pulling a gun on him. But Scully arrives to a hostage situation, so she gets there. There's like SWAT vans and police and negotiators and everything, just all kind of there. She goes straight in, starts taking names and stuff. So Gary tells everyone that Mr. Pincus, who is the boss, is a monster, and half the office have been turned into zombies. So
the makeup effects on the zombies are quite good.
I really liked it. It was quite creepy, actually. When you first see Nancy, when he looks over the cubicle and you see Nancy, and it's just like the white vacant eyes and the green toned skin. It's quite effective, especially because in the previous scenes where we've seen her, she was this like bubbly, kind of smiley, and then to see her and she's just like zoned out. It's very effective, I think. Mulder tries calmly talking to Gary, then then dust comes through the ceiling. Gary starts just obliterating the ceiling. I was like,
kill the dust.
Kill the dust. I didn't know what it was at first. I was like, what is it? Because it's kind of shiny. It looks like glitter. So I'm like, what is that? Like I realized after the fact that they're obviously sawing through to try and put a camera in or whatever, but I didn't get it at first. So the police call Mulder's cell phone, despite Scully saying no, don't call his cell phone. Because
this is the typical moment that drives me absolutely bonkers in these type of things. Like why phone it? What are they going to achieve?
Well, they're hoping that the agent that was in there was competent enough to know that when the office is kind of empty and people are saying get down, that he would probably have the wherewithal to maybe hide somewhere in some nook cranny. Couple that with the fact that Scully is a very petite woman, and there are a bunch of guys around a desk trying to make their plans, and she just comes in and says, no, don't do that. They're like, back up, wench. So and this
I was really hoping for a scene
as well.
I was hoping for a scene later on going like with Mulder going, I could have handled this situation if I hadn't been called. Like, just highlighting to the fact that like that kind of ruined everything.
Yeah. Who was the asshat who decided to call me right in the middle of a hostage situation? Yeah. Well played.
I was just about to get my gun and shoot this guy.
Yeah. And then Scully could just be looking at the guys going, in your face. So So, yeah, the police call Mulder's cell phone because they're idiots, which results in Gary shooting one of the zombies because, things just escalate.
It's a zombie.
Gary goes on a rant when Mulder tells him he killed a man and not a zombie. And it's at that point we get a phone call where they say we're sending the cameraman. Because Gary basically wants a cameraman. It's the whole Dwayne Barry thing again. I want a cameraman in here so they can get my testimony and they can see what I'm talking about, and then the whole world will know. It's Dog Day Afternoon and all that kind of stuff. So the cameraman goes in. Gary is about to kill Pincus. Mulder steps in the way, but Gary's like, "Look at it! Look at it!" And Mulder's like, "Oh, for goodness sake." Kind of turns around, and then it's like, we see this cockroachy thing.
Yeah.
And then we get this look on Mulder's face where I can't tell if he's seeing what we're seeing or whether he's just so nonplussed. Yeah. Well, I get that after the fact because he says that he saw something later on. From the performance of David Duchovny, I'm kind of like, is he just so dumbstruck that he just doesn't know what to do, what to say?
I think that look is saying to Gary, "I wish you hadn't taken my gun because I'm going to shoot this thing." Like, it's just Mulder's just like instantly going like, "Yes, X-Files, monster. This is great."
Yeah, he's suddenly come alive to the case.
Yeah.
But So it's at that point the SWAT team busts in, shoots Gary, and poor Gary.
I love how they just drive through the wall. All the ways to come in. No, we're just going to try. It just, these guys aren't the smartest. They're heavy weapons. They're not subtle or smarts. It's just blunt force. Yeah,
it's the way SWAT teams are always portrayed. Ever since
they drive through the wall, they give this guy a warning shot to the forehead, and then they're all high-fiving each other. You can tell they're going to a barbecue with beers after this. That's the kind of thing they're going to do.
And they all run out going, hup, 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 hup.
Yeah. Hoorah! Hoorah!
Yeah. There's like Batman Year One, the Frank Miller Batman Year One from the 80s. The SWAT team in that is just like, they tick all the boxes of what a SWAT team from any TV show or movie should be like. But so Mulder questions Pincus in front of Scully, who asks what's going on, because he's like really antagonistic because he now believes that this guy is a monster. So may as well just come out and be like, "You're a monster! You're a monster!" Like you turn his But so we go to the office, and Mulder Mulder's office, that is. And Mulder is looking for hiding in the light, and he has found that it appears in 5 different X-Files. So basically, after everything he's just been through, he's gone straight to the office, and all he's doing now is just looking for those references because he's excited, his juices are flowing. This is what he's all about.
He's drawing these little lines all across the map and all that.
Looking like a crazy person. It's like any crazy obsessed person has a map on the wall with pins and string. That's just like that's just a rule, hard and fast rule. Pincus was at each of the locations that these X-Files cases took place. Mulder equates Pincus to a mantis or a cockroach kind of thing. And Scully says Gary saw what he saw because he was disturbed. And then Mulder's like, does that make me disturbed? Scully suggests Folie adieu. Mulder says no. Scully refuses to do an autopsy on Gary. So like he's Mulder's like typical kind of Scully, need to do an autopsy. She's like, hell no. Mulder goes to Gary's house, and he was tracking Gary's boss's movements, and he sees Zombie Nancy outside. So he's just like, is he talking to someone at this point? I can't remember.
He's got the gung ho SWAT guy from the.
Oh yes, yeah. So he's talking. He's got the SWAT guy there, and He goes to the window and he just sees Nancy just standing there, looking all zombified, staring up at the window, bit freaky. Kind of like
but why does he not shout the guy over? He's like, come and see this. But instead he just runs down the stairs and looks really like twitchy.
Looks pretty dodge. But yeah, he chases after her, but she gets into the car with Pincus and they just drive off.
And that's the kind of revelation as well, because we're like, oh, okay, so they are up to something. Like there is something going on here. It's not just in their heads.
It's Invasion of the Body Snatchers, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
But, so Scully is called into Skinner's office. Mulder is apparently being erratic. He asks why she's not out there with him, and she plays coy and says, "Right away, sir," and kind of gets up all like, really don't want to do this, but I have no clue what to say.
Yeah,
my partner's going nuts. So she gets
does
up.
the old, I'm just going to go and help him. I'm just
just gonna go. And then he's like, "Yeah, you've got an autopsy to do," and she's like, "Come again?" It's like, Agent Mulder said something about an autopsy, and she's like, "Damn it!" It's like, bastard. It's like, I thought I'd gotten out of it. It's gone over my head. So what I really love though is Scully does the autopsy. She says to the examiner, "External exam only." It's like, fine, I'll do the autopsy because Mulder's wangled it, but I ain't cutting. I'm doing no cuts. We're just going to do an external exam.
She's been stubborn, but this is the bit where it's like the guy's like, she's not interested. She's like walked away. She's like looking at post-its in the wall or something. And the guy's like, "Oh, the body's been dead for 48 to 72 hours. And she's like, "Hang on." And she turns around and looks at it. And even though she probably agrees with the guy, she still does nothing about it. Like, she's just like, I'm put my foot down. I'm not helping him. Which is so unlike Scully as well. You know?
Well, she doesn't really say a right lot at that point. She goes over to the body and she. What gets me is like,
body's mangled.
She should know this. Like, has she literally not taken a single look at the body until that examiner has pointed it out? Because when she flips the cloth back a little bit, it's like it's really noticeable. And the guy's face is kind of hanging out of the cloth. So even just looking at that, given her expertise, she would be like, "Hang on a minute, that doesn't look. Whoa, that's not kosher." It's like, but so Pincus breaks into a house. Mulder follows, smashes a window because he sees like the cockroach creature thing kind of up on the ceiling. Smashes the window to stop this woman being attacked. Goes inside, and the woman just sits there like a zombie. The thing is, it's like, it's freaky because they don't do the zombie makeup on her, and it's like, so they're constantly playing with this idea that, is it all in Mulder's head? Is it not? But then why is she just sat there, kind of not doing anything? Her eyes are open. She's just staring at the TV. The whole scene is just off. It's just kind of off. Like if they'd have had her doing that, but with the zombie makeup stuff going on, you'd know instantly, oh no, she's been turned. But because they don't put the zombie makeup, it makes the whole scene just that bit more off kilter, where you're going, this is a bit freaky. It's like, what's going on? Why isn't she paying any attention to Mulder? So Bugman escapes, Pincus escapes. Miss Stearns, as we learn this woman is called, testifies that Mulder broke in like a madman. Skinner is not impressed. Then Mulder starts going mental, and Skinner has to subdue him. So he's
Skinner's in full on dad mode here, isn't he? Just like, you better sit there and shut up.
You'd think Mulder would have a bit more wherewithal to go, okay,
yes,
I've seen Gary losing, no one believing him. Clearly nobody saw what Gary saw. Now I'm in Gary's position. Let's maybe try and work some stuff out first before going full on kind of dialing it up to number 11.
It's like Pinker, or whatever his name is, turns into the cockroach thing, and it's like Skinner. It's got Mulder's like, "Skinner, look at him, look."
Yeah,
he
yeah.
doesn't.
Look at him! Look at him!
And
Yeah,
then
and
the
you
guy
get the
changes back
sense as
in a little
well that
smirk.
yeah, you get the sense that Pincus is doing it on purpose just to
Yeah,
get him wound up in that moment. While we're on Pincus, actually, I will just say, really nice casting there for this guy because he really nails that line of being believable as the nice, lovable boss. He's kind of got the look of someone who'd just be, yeah, you know what, I don't take my job too seriously. I care more about my employees, kind of, and you know, getting something out of their work. I'm here for them if they need me. He kind of has that look of that kind of boss, but then he has that slyness about him as well, where like just this, I don't know, this quiet devilry about him, where you know there's something just not right about this dude. So yeah, good casting. But Scully tries. Oh, sorry, there we go. So we go to the hospital. Scully goes to see Mulder, and Mulder's like, 5 years together, Scully. You must have seen this coming. Which, like, you know, the fact that he's still got a sense of humor should tell Scully something. So Mulder begs Scully to check the neck of the dead body. So she's like, okay. She's kind of reluctant still, but she does. She goes, checks the dead body, and she finds three.
I like this one as well, because just when they go back to it, the guy's like, we've got to do the autopsy, and she's like, no, we're just going to flip him.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we already do an external exam of this guy. Yeah. Come on, man. I do like, because there has been times in the show before and other shows, plenty of other shows, where, you know, somebody says, check whatever body part, and they go to it and they look and it's right there, a puncture wound, which really pisses me off that a coroner wouldn't find that. At least here, Scully does actually she has to scrape away some hair and skin to kind of find it. It's a bit of a mess there. There's some decay. If you literally don't scrape away that skin, you don't see it. So I like, they could have just gone straight to the scene. She sees it, yeah, it's there, but she's got to do the work, which shows why they missed it first time around.
Do you know what I liked? And it's such like a non-moment of anything. Blowing the hair from the body in the razor. Like, I don't know why. It just kind of added a little bit of authenticity to it. You know, they just...
Yeah. It felt more real, didn't it? So Mulder is given a sedative by a nurse with a sick sense of humor. It's like, yeah, she's not doing anything. Yeah, she's not doing anything to alleviate his stresses. It's like knowing you've got a mental patient who's like afraid of spiders or something. It's like going in there and saying, "Don't worry, there's only a few spiders in the corner. Good night." It's just like sick, twisted kind of nurse. But he sees the bug man out the window. It's a nice kind of shadow effect that I like.
Yes.
So then he starts screaming, and the nurse comes in and then opens the window. So this is just after she's like been all, don't let the bed bugs bite, and now she's opening the window. It's literally like she's messing with this guy.
It's like there's something at the window. There's something here.
Yeah. Like,
you need some fresh air.
You need some fresh air. Yeah. So, but it's then that like we see that she is actually, as you know, the way she acts. She's in on it. She's definitely one of the zombies.
Yeah, the bite mark in the back of the neck type thing.
Yeah.
You see kind of blood running down it.
Yeah. So then Mulder sees Bugman again. And so obviously tension mounts. And that's all happening while Scully tries to get in to see Mulder. The nurse says no. And then we see that it's a zombie nurse. Now the question is, does Scully see that?
Yes, I think that's what it's saying.
Yeah. That's what I thought, but just wanted to clarify that we're on the same page. So Scully barges in and shoots Bugman. So yeah, it's landing. I like the effect when, so you can see that one behind us. We get a bit more of that when it's coming towards Mulder and like it's going to attack him on the bed and stuff. It kind of reminds me, like if you see the image behind us, it reminds me of the film Them. with the giant ants.
Giant ants, yeah.
Yeah, I love a great 50s B movie kind of thing. So yeah, so we go to Skinner's office, and Scully backs up Mulder with science and facts, but is reluctant to describe what she saw. So she's kind of she's going back to default mode, Scully here, where it's like, yeah, I've kind of been the one throughout the season who's been more leaning into all the paranormal stuff. But right now, I'm just gonna lean on the science, gonna lean on the fact. Can't really say that what I saw was what I saw. I don't know. So yeah, she looks a bit nervous. Yeah, so like Mulder says, like, what did you tell him? She says the truth, a madness shared by two, meaning both her. So that's her way of admitting to Mulder that, yeah, she saw some stuff. It could very well be that we're both nuts.
Yeah.
And then we get a final little stinger in the tail with a new office, new employee, and let's start this all over again. We get the sound of the bug, and it's like, is Pincus dead, or is this Pincus again, or is there multiple Pincuses, or what? It's just
it's the good old fashioned Jersey Devil ending, isn't it? Leading to a whole new it's leading to another story that we're never going to get.
I'm still waiting for my Jersey Devil sequel. It's something you'll never hear.
I'm happy to wait. I liked Folie, I do. I thought it was really kind of fun, and it kept evolving into things I wasn't expecting, like Mulder taking over, and I thought it was going to be the hostage situation for the full episode, which I was like, how are they going to drag this out? I loved quite a lot of the imagery in it, and the sound design as well. I thought was really good. The kind of creation of the bug noises that you would hear fluttering around. Makeup was excellent. I think the characters are enjoyable, but very much flawed throughout this, both of them. Whether it be Scully being, refusing to help the situation, and being sidelined for a little bit, and Mulder going from completely not interested to being the most exciting thing he's ever dealt with. It's nice. It moves along.
But
really,
all
really
believable though. Like none of that stuff feels like it's out of character. It feels like
and we've had episodes where it has felt out of character, but it feels like a character arc within this story specifically, and it fits perfectly. And it's kind of creepy in certain points. I like it a lot. I'm torn on this one. I think I'm going to go 4.5 on it, Brian.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go with a 5 because I really enjoyed it. It's a really good Monster of the Week episode. Just great character stuff. Like the Scully not being asked in the autopsy, I think is a direct correlation to the earlier scene in which Mulder is all me, and she's like, "Well, screw you then." It's like, you say you make it all about you. It's like, I'm like second fiddle. 2, you have me sifting through X-Files fans for some line of dialogue for a case that you're not even interested in. And 3, you have me running off doing an autopsy. Like, it's just, so by that point, I just get her complete lack of willingness to go along with it. But it's a testament to her character that she still manages to get over that and kind of go and look for those 3 marks at the end. But I really enjoy it. It's funny. It's like you said, the evolving nature of the episode, because I thought it was going to be like another Dwayne Barry kind of thing. I thought, all right, they've set it up. Now we're in the office. We're stuck there. The SWAT team's all gathered. It's going to be about that. And then they kind of very quickly get away from that. And it's like, oh, right. What kind of episode are we? So, yeah, it's just constantly shifting and changing. But again, in an organic way. Doesn't feel like Red Museum, where you've got 3 different kind of types of episode and they've just like mangled them together because they didn't know which story.
And none of them work.
Yeah. So, 5 out of 5 from me. There you go.
There we have it. And now we've reached the end, which is the title of episode 20, the end. So tell me a little bit about the season finale.
I don't think I have to tell you it's a mythology episode. It's
of course
last episode of the season. We're going into the movie. So it's really it's about setting up where Mulder and Scully are at in preparation for the movie. So when we start the movie, it's like, this is where we find Mulder and Scully. So
it's like a straight continuation from the end of this episode into the movie, is it?
I wouldn't say it's a straight continuation, but
Right.
it just, I think it's a clean-up job more than anything. I think
Okay.
there is a reason it's called The End. For one reason, this was the final until they came back for season 10 and 11. This was the final episode that they shot in Vancouver because the production all moved to LA from season 6
Right.
onwards. And so they were pretty much saying goodbye to Vancouver. There's other things in the episode that they're saying goodbye to in a way, which I don't want to go into because obviously I don't want to spoil anything. So it really does feel like an end, a stopgap between what we've had up to this point, and then the movie kind of almost becomes a new starting point, picking up from where they've been left at the end of the end. So it's a good solid episode. It's not a two-parter. It's a single kind of. Here's the thing: you could have ended the show after this episode and then just gone into movies. Now there's a huge part of me that wishes that's what they have done.
Right.
But then there's so many other really great episodes in the show that I'm like, but then we'd lose those episodes. So it's yeah. But like I think as far as legacy goes, if they'd have ended the show after the next episode and then just done movies from then on, I think the legacy of the show would be much more highly regarded.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting going into a season finale that is not a cliffhanger of sorts. Like that just feels very weird. But hey, we'll get there next time. As always, we would appreciate your comments and ratings on our show. It helps other people to discover it. So if you want to rate 5 stars, hit the like button on YouTube. Whatever podcast servers you have, that would be wonderful. And we will see you for the season finale, The End, next time. Thanks for watching and listening.